Morning student. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter 2 of political science, constitutional design. In the previous chapter we have read about what is democracy and why democracy. And we have read that democracy is a type of government where the rulers are not free to do what they like. There are certain basic rules that the citizens and the government have to follow. All such rules together are called constitution. So constitution provides with certain rules and regulations which the people or the citizens and the government has to abide by. So as the supreme law of the country, the constitution determines the rights of citizens, the powers of the government, and how the government should function. So in this chapter, that is constitutional design, there are some basic questions that will be discussed, like about the constitutional design of a democracy, why we need a constitution, how are the constitution drawn up or framed, who designed them and in what ways, what are the values that shape the constitution in a democratic states. Once a constitution is accepted, can we make changes or amended later as required by the changing condition? So these are the questions that we are going to read today. Taking example from the Constitution of South Africa, we will start with the chapter. So democratic constitution in South Africa. Beginning with a speech of Nelson Mandela, I have fought against white domination and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. This was a speech of Nelson Mandela, being tried for treason by the white South African country. And treason means a betrayal of one's own country. So he and 7 other leaders were sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964. What is the reason for the life imprisonment being given to them? As they have dared to oppose the apartheid rule in his country. What is that apartheid rule? It is the rule of white domination over the black. That means racial discrimination that was practiced in South Africa. He spent the next 28 years in South Africa's most dreaded prison, Robben Island. Struggle against apartheid. Apartheid was the name of a system of racial discrimination unique to South African country. The white Europeans imposed this system on South Africa. During the 17th and the 18th centuries, the trading companies from Europe occupied it with arms and force, in the way they occupied India. But unlike India, a large number of whites had settled in South Africa and became the local rulers. The system of apartheid divided the people and labeled them on the basis of their skin color, that means white and black. The native people of South Africa are black in color. They made up about 3/4 of the population and were called blacks. Beside these two groups, there were people of mixed races who were called colored and people who migrated from India. The white rulers treated all non-whites as inferiors. The non-whites did not have voting rights. The apartheid system was particularly oppressive for the blacks. They were forbidden from living in white areas. They could work in white areas only if they had a permit. Trains, buses, taxis, hotels, hospitals, schools and colleges Libraries, cinema halls, theaters, beaches, swimming pools, public toilets were all separate for the white and the black. So there is a racial segregation being practiced in South Africa. So this was called segregation, or separating the people on the basis of skin color. They could not even visit the church where the white worship. Blacks could not form association or protest against the terrible treatment. Since 1950, the blacks, colored and the Indian fought against the apartheid system. They launched protest marches and strikes. The African National Congress, or ANC, was the umbrella organization that led the struggle against the policies of segregation. So this included many workers' union and the Communist Party. Many sensitive whites also joined the African National Congress to oppose apartheid and play a leading role in this struggle. Several countries denounced apartheid as unjust and racist, but the white racist government continued to rule by detaining, torturing, and killing thousands of blacks and colored people. Now, towards the end of the apartheid system and a new constitution being drafted. As protests and struggle against apartheid had increased, the government realized that they could no longer keep the blacks under their rule through repression or oppression. The white regime changed its policies. Discriminatory laws were repealed and changed. Ban on political parties and restrictions on the media were lifted. After 20 years of imprisonment, Nelson Mandela walked out of the jail as a free man. Finally, at the midnight of 26 April 1994, the new constitution, that means the national flag of the Republic of South Africa, was unfurled, marking the newborn democracy in the world. The apartheid government came to an end, paving the way for the formation of multiracial government. So how did this come about? How Nelson Mandela became the first president of this new South Africa. So, after the emergence of the new democratic South Africa, black leaders appealed to fellow blacks to forgive the whites for the atrocities they had committed while in power. They said, let us build a new South Africa based on equality of all races and men and women, on democratic values, social justice and human rights. The party that ruled through oppression, brutal killings, and the party that led the freedom struggle set together to draw up the common constitution. See that? They have forgotten everything about the torture that has been subjected to them by the white. So they, both of them, the white and the black, sat together to form the new constitution. After 2 years of discussions and debate, they came out with one of the finest constitution in the world that I ever had. This constitution gave to its citizens the most extensive rights available in any countries of the world. Together they decided that in the search for a solution to the problem, nobody could be excluded. No one should be treated as a demon. They agreed that everybody should become a part of the solution, whatever they might have done or represented in the past. So the preamble to the constitution of the South African sum up this spirit. So the South African constitutions inspired democrats all over the world. A state denounced by the entire world till 1994 as the most undemocratic one is now seen as a model of democracy. What made this change possible was the determination of the people of South Africa to work together, to transform bitter experiences into the binding glue of a rainbow nation. So speaking on the South African Constitution, Mandela said, the Constitution of South Africa speaks of both the past and the future. On the one hand, it is a solemn pact in which we as South Africans declared to one another that we shall never permit a repetition of our racist, brutal and repressive past. But it is more than that. It is also a charter for the transformation of a country into one which is truly shared by all its people. a country which is the fullest sense belongs to all of us, that is black and white, women and men. Now we'll read about why we need a constitution. The South African example is a good way to understand why we need a constitution and what do constitution do. The oppressors and the oppressed in this new democracy were planning to live together as equals. It was not going to be easy for them to trust each other. They had their fears in their mind. They wanted to safeguard their interests. The black majority was key to ensure that the democratic principle of majority rule was not compromised. They wanted substantial social and economic rights. The white minority was key to protect their privileges and property. So after a long negotiations and discussions, both the parties agreed to a compromise. The whites agreed to the principle of majority rule and that of one person, one vote. They also agreed to accept some basic rights for the poor and the workers. The blacks agreed that the majority rule could not be absolute. They agreed that the majority would not take away the property of the white minority. This compromise was not easy for both of them. How was this compromise going to be implemented? Even if they managed to trust each other, what was the guarantee that this trust will not be broken in future? So the only way to build and maintain trust in such a situation is to write down some rules of the game that everyone should abide by. So while writing the constitution, everyone have to abide by the laws and rules of the constitution. So these rules lay down how the rulers are to be chosen in future. These rules also determine what the elected government are empowered to do and what they cannot do. Finally, these rules decide the rights of the citizens. These rules will work on if the winner cannot change them very easily. That is why the South African did. They agreed on some basic rules. They also agreed that these rules will be supreme, that no government will be able to ignore this. So this set of basic rules is called a constitution. So what is constitution? Constitution is nothing but a set of rules and regulations which we as a citizen have to abide by, the government have to abide by. So constitution making is not unique to South Africa. Every country has diverse groups of people and their relationship may not have been as bad as that between the whites and the blacks in South Africa. But all over the world, people have difference of opinions and interests. Whether democratic or not, most countries in the world need to have some basic rules. So this applies not just to government. Any association needs to have its constitution. Even any institution like school have also a constitution. That means the basic rule which the school authority have to frame and the student, teachers and all the stakeholders have to abide by those. So it could be a club in our area, a cooperative society or a political party. They need a constitution and even a school that I told you. So thus the constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in a country. So constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory and also the relationship between the people and government. So a constitution does many things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kind of people to live together. Secondly, it specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have power to make or take important decisions. Thirdly, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells us what the rights of the citizens are. Fourthly, it expresses the aspiration of the people about creating a good society. So all countries that have constitutions are not necessarily democratic, but all countries that are democratic will have constitution. So after the War of Independence against Great Britain, the Americans gave themselves a constitution. After the revolution, the French people approved a democratic constitution. Since then, it has become a practice in all democracies to have a written constitution. So we have read up to why we need the Constitution. In the next class, we will continue with the making of the Indian Constitution as a case study. Thanking you, students.